Wow! Welcome, fellow muggles and maybe even a few wizards hiding out there, to the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them Global Fan Event. Oh my Lord. My name is Edith Bowman and it is my absolute pleasure, I am utterly thrilled to be your host here in London at the Empire Cineworld Leicester Square IMAX. Now, we are coming to you live and we have some exciting things to share with you today. Are you guys ready to return to J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World? Me too! And not just us, we are joined by Fantastic Beasts fans online and theatres around the world, and we'll meet them very soon, but let's get started. We're going to kick off this event with a sneak peek at some exclusive footage from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Have a look at this.
Lumos Maxima.
Mysterious thing, time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm what?
What you're looking at are memories.
You're an interesting man, Mr. Scamander. It's getting closer. This is a beast.
Whatever it is, it must be stopped. In Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, you're learning about a part of magical history that's talked about in the Potter books, but you never see. I'm getting a chance to tell that now. In the 1920s, magic developed very differently in America.
Many wizards have suppressed their magic to avoid being persecuted by muggles. They are therefore living in hiding.
Hear my words and heed my warning. Witches live among us.
They're looking to expose wizards and witches.
If they succeed, we will be forced to stay in the shadows forever. And we've both lived in the shadows for too long.
There's strange things going on all over the city. The people behind this are not like you and me. Just look at the evidence.
Because of this tension, the wizarding world is in a state of high alert at that time.
When Newt comes to New York and one of his creatures gets out, he's immediately arrested.
Beasts are a threat to giving away that wizards exist.
Impound that case, Graves.
Please, you don't understand. Nothing in there is dangerous.
We'll be the judges of that.
Graves is the head Auror. He investigates anything detrimental to wizard kind. So setting a pack of dangerous creatures loose here was just another accident. Is that what you're telling me? I wonder what makes Albus Dumbledore so fond of you.
We don't really know who's good and who's bad until all the chips have fallen.
You know which of your creatures was responsible, Mr. Scamander.
Look at the marks. No creature did this.
This could mean exposure. Could mean war.
We got a plan, right, guys?
They need our help.
This is new material. There are ways in which we connect to the Potter books that I think people will find surprising. They think this is related to Grindelwald's attacks in Europe. We're talking about the first time a wizard rose and threatened the world order.
I have seen a vision of immense power.
This was always where I was interested in going. This is what I wanted to do.
was amazing. I cannot wait for November. Okay, how many Harry Potter fans do we have here today? I thought so. In J.K. Rowling's 7 beloved books and 8 blockbuster films, we all stood with Harry and his Hogwarts classmates against the he who shall not be named. Well, get ready to fall in love with a wizard who had, well, fantastic adventures decades before Harry Potter arrived at Hogwarts. Welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Please give him a huge, warm welcome. Newt Scamander himself, Mr. Eddie Redmayne. Have a seat, sir.
Thank you.
Make yourself comfortable. Now, Newt Scamander is British, as of course is Eddie. But Fantastic Beasts takes place in the Wizarding World in America, 1926 New York to be precise. And just as Harry had Hermione and Ron, Newt has a band of friends himself. Other side of the pond. Shall we meet a few of them? Shall we? Just a couple? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Catherine Waterston, who stars as Tina Goldstein, Alison Sudo, who stars as her sister Queenie, and Dan Fogler, starring as Jacob Kowalski, who is a nomage, what we like to call a muggle. Catherine, Alison, and Dan, everyone! Sit down and make yourself comfortable. Now, that's not it. That is not it, because we are very honoured to have with us the man who directed the last 4 Harry Potter films and was at the helm of this film. Joined by the producer of all 8 Harry Potter movies and, of course, produced Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Please welcome director David Yates and producer David Heyman. Gents, here we go. Now, there are many thousands of people watching who are, well, they're anxious to hear more about Fantastic Beasts. But first, we have some special guests in Los Angeles. Let's check in with Natalie Morales in LA, who is joined by about 1,000 of you guys' biggest fans. Natalie.
That is so true, Edith. Thank you so much. You're in London among the Muggles. I'm here with the Nomages at the TCL Chinese IMAX in Los Angeles. Yes, we represent well in Los Angeles. I'm Natalie Morales. As a huge Harry Potter fan myself, I'm as excited to be here as you all are. In fact, we have a lot of very enthusiastic fans here who just love Harry Potter so much. They cannot wait to learn more about a brand new era of J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, Fantastic Beasts, and Where to Find Them. Now, you have a great panel there, Edith, but we have some special guests here, too. Okay, we ready to meet them, everybody? From Los Angeles here, joining us are 2 of today's most celebrated and respected actors. Please welcome the man behind the mysterious Percival Graves, Colin Farrell. Hello, welcome. Now, the actor who plays the powerful newspaper magnate, Henry Shaw Sr., John Voight. Hello. All right, gentlemen, we're going to get our discussion underway shortly, but let's send it back to you, Edith.
Thank you, Natalie. Now, we may not be wizards, but thanks to the magic of technology, the theatres here and in Los Angeles are connected to cities all around the world. So let's check in with just a few of them. First up, Sao Paulo, Brazil, where Tiago Ramirez is standing by. Hello, Tiago.
Thank you, Edith. As you can see, Olá from Cinépolis JK Iguatemi in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm Thiago Romariz, and I'm joined by some very excited and beautiful fans who can't wait to hear more about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Let's get a big cheer, everyone! Back to you, Edith.
This is incredible. And now let's check in on Italy, shall we? Let's head to Rome, where Lamario and Andrea have quite a crowd for us.
Hi. Hello to everybody. I'm Lamario, is Andrea, and we are in Rome at the Sala Mazda at Rome Film Fest, and we are very happy to this show tonight.
There are a lot of very dedicated Wizarding World fans here. They love Harry Potter and they can't wait to see Fantastic Beasts. So,
Roma,
say hello.
Are you ready? Back to you, Edith. Thank you.
Bye.
Back to you, Edith. Thank you.
Bye.
Wow, this is wonderful. The excitement is also building in Mexico City, where Gabby Cam and the fans are ready to go wild.
This is Gabby Cam, live from Cinépolis, Plaza Universidad. As you can see, we're all very excited to be part of this event. I even dressed up and everything, and I know I'm not the only one here. So, are you ready? Because I'm going to show you that Mexican fans are the loudest Wizarding World fans in the world. Give it up for Fantastic Beasts! Woo! I told you.
Yes, you did, and that is going to be hard to top. Now, last but by no means least, we want to head across the pond to the city where Fantastic Beasts is set. Are you ready? Sarah and Jack in New York City.
We are, Edith, and I am here to tell you that Mexico does not have the biggest fans. I'm Sarah Gore, and this is Jackie Reed, and we are thrilled to be here at the AMC Kips Bay IMAX Theater in New York City! With so many devoted fans of J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, we are so excited that she chose to set Fantastic Beasts in our great city, aren't we, people?
Yes. In fact, we're not far from the headquarters of the Magical Congress of the United States of America. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were a few wizards and witches in our midst right here today.
I think so.
Right, everybody?
I think so.
The wands are waving.
Back.
Right then, our stars are standing by. I think slightly overwhelmed by all this, but never mind. They're standing by here in London and Los Angeles, and we want to show them how excited you all are. So we are going to put everybody up on the screen together in one go. This might work, it might fail miserably, but let's give it a go. So let's hear it all at once for the stars and the filmmakers from Fantastic Beasts. You ready? Go! Right, but what's even more amazing is that those are just a fraction of the thousands of fans who are gathered in theatres around the world. This is truly a global event. So hello to everyone watching in Paris, Santiago, Bogota, San Juan, Dubai, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, Miami, Orlando, Washington, D.C., Toronto, and Atlanta. Hello to you all. And we are also joined by countless more people watching from all over the world via Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. To everybody, wherever you are watching, welcome back to J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World. Okay, now it's time to put you guys to work, okay? It's time to hear what the fans would like to know. Now, we received so many questions from near and far, and we wish we had time to answer all of them, but we've selected some of the best. So our first question comes to us from Nina on Twitter, who goes by the handle of Luna Love God. And she asks, in what aspect do you identify with your character? And that's a really lovely question that we can give our cast the opportunity to tell us a little bit more about your character. Eddie, sir, would you like to start with that?
Well, firstly, it's kind of overwhelming, Edith. It's so extraordinary to see you guys here in London and all of you around the world. Thank you for being so supportive to us. I can see in this cinema there are many people dressed as Newt Scamander that I'm finding wildly exciting. How do I identify to my character? What I love probably most about Newt is he's an incredibly passionate guy. His love of his creatures is kind of at the beginning of the film, it's the be-all and end-all for him. And he looks in that, he sees in that, it's almost myopic. He's there and he cares about them passionately. And I suppose I'm like one of those people that if I'm focused on something, I'm kind of focused on that thing. So that was something I identified with.
Catherine?
Is this on?
It
Whoa,
is.
yes. This is so awesome. I'm totally overwhelmed. This is so much fun. My character, Tina, she's kind of in the middle of a struggle when you meet her in the film, and it's something I think I really identify with as an actress, actually, because sometimes you find you're really marvelous in the shower at home, and then you go to the audition and you invert the words and stumble through and break out in horrible sweat, and they say, we'll let you know. And, you know, that there's a sort of sometimes kind of struggle between what you think you're capable of and what you are actually delivering in the world. And when I read the script, I really identified with that sense that she has this a lot of potential and a lot to give, but hasn't quite figured out how to expose it or express it. It's a little bit deep where I went with that. But that was something I identified with, yeah.
Thank you. Alison?
Well, again, this is I'm losing my voice a little bit. I think with Queenie, she's a magical empath, and so she's able to look into people and see their story, their soul, the more that she looks into you, the more that she can see who you are and what you've been through, and so it's a wonderful thing. On the one hand, she has a great insight into humanity, but also she gets very overwhelmed, and I think, like by a lot of stimulation, and I can relate to that. There's a lot of extraordinary energy that is happening, especially now, the more that we're getting to meet more of you, and this is so exciting, and I think I'm taking it in as Queenie would, which is I'm just gonna get quieter and quieter and quieter, and just take in how extraordinary this is.
Thank you. Dan? Look, I love how you're just looking around.
The ceiling
Inside
is
that
awesome.
ceiling.
Look at the ceiling here. It's like the inside of an alchemy nest.
Tell us about your character, son.
Okay, so yeah, I'm so much like Jacob in the sense that the way that he's being introduced to this amazing magical world, and he's in awe of it. I am feeling the same way. Yeah, that's one way, and then another way is. Yeah, Jacob, I mean, my great-great-grandfather, Jacob is a baker, and my great-great-grandfather was a baker on the Lower East Side in New York, and, you know, Fogler's pumpernickel, man. I mean, it was, so, it's just so surreal. I feel like I'm in a dream.
This is reality, and it's a wonderful place to be. Right then, we are going to head back to Los Angeles, I believe. Natalie.
All right. Thank you, Edith. That's right. Let's pick up that same question here with Colin and John. How did you identify with your character?
Well, my grandfather was a wizard back in Dublin in the... Dan, you trumped us all. Percival Graves is the head of magical security at MACUSA, which is the Magical Congress of the United States of America. And he's someone who, I don't know how I identified with him, but I would like to think that I have some kind of version of my own sense of justice and injustice. And I think that's what Graves really carries with him. I think his job is to uphold the safety, first and foremost, of the wizarding world, but not just the physical safety, because there's been a massive segregation in this world, in this story, so that there's a great divide between what in the Potter universe we call muggles, but in our world we call no-mages, those who have no ability with magic. So those who are wizards are kept in the shadows, are hidden. We have to live, they've been repressed, and this is something that eats away at Graves. So he has his own ideology, which if I was in his shoes might be, his practice to kind of tear down those walls might be a bit different than mine. But I respect his sense of justice and injustice, and he's incredibly driven and focused and single-minded, and he's handy enough with a wand.
Okay. John?
Yeah, well, that was very good, Colin.
Thank you, John. You may leave now. You've said all you need to say.
I wanted to say this. There's another thing about him. He's got this silky danger about him as Graves, which is exactly what he is, you know, a silky danger. But anyway, my character is, I have a small character in the piece. He's a no-mage, so that's a sad thing for me to have to play a no-mage in a movie of magic. But I identify with the character in some ways. He's a father, he's a devoted father in some ways, very strong fellow, very stern, and I can be that too. So, but I wanted to say, you know, this is fun for us to be here at the end of this after having seen the film, which is so wondrous. And I have to say, the people on the stage, you know, David Yates and David Heyman and our fellows in London, Eddie and Dan and Catherine and the wonderful Queenie. And this was an amazing thing for me to be a participant in, because I saw these things happen, and I saw the amazing amount of work that was put in. And when you see the film, it is wondrous, it is thrilling, and it also has a great heart. It captures your heart. So I'm very proud of all you guys. Your work was wonderful.
Amazing. Well, that's a perfect tee-off. Yes, to our next question from Von Garikani here in Los Angeles, and it is for David, the director, and also for the producer back in London. He asks, how was it working with J.K. Rowling, the creator of this amazing world, on her first screenplay? We'd all like to know what it was like coming back to the wizarding world.
It was thrilling, frankly. On the Potter movies, you know, I had these wonderful books, and Jo is a little bit like the Queen. We would spend a month working on the adaptation of each book and developing these drafts of the script, and Jo would come along towards the end of that process, and she would always be graceful, supportive, kind. She'd always say, generally she'd be very supportive of what we'd done and what we'd left out. And so in this case, we didn't have any books, but we had the person who created them. And so we were working at the coalface with her very directly, and it was amazing to be sat around a table with her as she kind of created this amazing next chapter of this world, this universe. And the one thing I can say about her is she's such a worker. It's unbelievable the number of drafts that she turned out for us, and her imagination, unsurprisingly, is unstoppable. And she's also very pragmatic. She understands the difference between a novel and a movie and appreciates the translation between the two. So for us in particular, this has been it's been a real thrill, actually, to work so closely with Jo to create this movie.
She's also, I mean, not only does she have this boundless imagination, but she's the most generous of collaborators. I mean, and particularly, you know, with David, she was there every step of the way in terms of supporting you and believing in you and allowing you to make the film that she wrote. She is, you know, she's amazing, and it's been a privilege to know her for now, what, 15 plus years, and to 20 years almost. Bloody hell, that's a long time.
Let's not count.
It's a long time, but it's a privilege because she is generous in person. She's generous in her work. She's a remarkable person.
Thank you. The next question comes to us from Raymond Ho from right here in the UK, and he's asking Eddie, what was it like working with the gentleman to my left, fantastic director, Mr. David Yates?
Do you know, for all of us, I think I can speak for all of us, we were such fans of the Potter films that there was this amazing opportunity coming into this film of taking that same universe into an extraordinarily exciting period. But being able to do it with David Yates and David Heyman sort of steering this huge ship was so phenomenal because they make the most gigantic experience feel like an intimate movie. Coupled with, I've got to say, J.K. Rowling, who wrote this script, which was, for me, the most astoundingly fully formed script I've ever read. And yet she would allow us the freedom with David to play within that. Like, David really encouraged us. I sort of had prep going to meet zoologists and getting to go and hang out with animals and creatures and all of that. Anything you came back with, any ideas you came back with, David would support, let you play with, let you try, and ultimately also let you fail and try again. And so it was the most wonderful experience for us.
Catherine, Alison Dan, would you like to pick up on working with David and your experience?
Oh, well, I just thought, whoa, hello. I just thought when Eddie was speaking about getting the freedom to make choices, you know, so often for actors, you get the job and that's the good news. That's kind of the beginning and the end of it, and then you get to work. But on this, it was so surprising when we were just starting to prepare for it, how much involvement we got to have in the look, the costumes, and the wands, and that they were so genuinely interested in what each of us had thought and had to say and wanted. And I remember the first time I got an email, like, I mean, this thing had 5 passwords or something because everything's so under lock and key, but it was wand design. And there were about 5 options, and then I picked the one I wanted. Actually, they made 2 so I could see which one felt better. And then I picked one, but it was too light. So they went back to the drawing board again. They added weight to it. I just felt like, my gosh, now I'll have a banana split and I feel like it would materialize in front of me or something. It was just so... it was so hands-on, and we all really got to feel like we had a little part of the kind of authorship of this thing, which is really rare, and I think extremely rare on things of this scale. And yes, I'm just babbling on, reiterating what Eddie already said, which is that it made us all feel like we were really a part of this, invited into this world. It was fun, dudes.
Yeah, I mean, of course, what both of you said, you've said so much about it, but I think also one thing that I really particularly loved about working with David was your storytelling ability, and that we would start a scene and. You know, when if you're not familiar with how movies are made, sometimes they're made out of order, so you're not necessarily filming one thing after the next. And so we'd come in, and all of us are in awe of these huge, incredible sets, and everything is so big and magnificent. And we're all a little bit wide-eyed and like, oh my goodness. And then David would gather us together, and he would tell us about what we were feeling in the story in this moment, and what all the things that we couldn't necessarily see yet. And he would tell us about the creatures, and he'd sometimes make their sounds and and it was just such it consistently brought this very large film back down to a very human level. And that's what's so wonderful about these stories in general, is that Joe is an extraordinary mixer of the wild and epic and unbelievable no, I said epic twice, oops, very epic scenarios with real humanity and intimacy, and David reminded of us that. Whoa, brain malfunction. You know what I mean. Anyways, great.
Yeah, we got it. We did. I've got to move over to Sao Paulo because they're waiting to ask us a question. Thiago, who is this question for, please?
Thank you, Edith. And our question comes from Luana D'Alberto, and it's for Dan Fogler. She asks to you, man, what did you learn from Jacob besides being an homage, of course? Have you learned anything from him?
I learned to read. No, first of all, I'm the king of Brazil on Twitter, so why aren't you guys chanting my name? What did I learn from him? I learned that, man, you don't have to have magic powers to feel magical on the inside.
Amazing.
And that, sir, is why you are the king of Brazil.
On Twitter.
Well, our next question is coming from Italy. Let's head over to Rome. Mario and Andrea, take it away, please. Let's head over to Rome. Mario and Andrea, take it away, please.
Thank you, Edith. We have a question for the legendary John Voight, and it's from Menino Milo, Brief Fox via Twitter.
He asks if you could play another character in the wizarding world, who would be and why?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, being a no-mage, I can feel Dan's confusion. It's tough being a no-mage. If I could be in the wizarding world, I would. I could. My imagination takes flight, and perhaps I could be maybe more dangerous than Colin Farrell.
All right, well, we have a question now from Mexico City. Gabby, who is the question for?
Thank you. Well, this question is actually for Colin, and this is from Alejandro Mendez, who's right here next to me. And he wants to know, Colin, how did it feel to play such an enigmatic and sinister character at such an important period of magic history?
Thanks, Alejandro. I love playing Enigma and have no idea how to, obviously. It was fun. I mean, Graves is someone who exists kind of on the fringes even of the world that he is there to uphold. So even within the wizarding world, those who exist in Makusa, those who have different positions within the workplace, even they don't understand much about Graves. They don't know much about him. So he is kind of a la Austin Powers, an international man of mystery. And it was fun to explore that. And you know, I've been asked questions about what I thought about what was my favorite creature, what was my favorite beast, fantastic beast, and I never really had an answer because I felt that Graves' storyline existed parallel to what's happening with Dan and Alison and Catherine and Eddie. Very parallel, but way off to the side as well. But I enjoyed the degree of mystery that he carried with himself. I enjoyed the burden, in a way, that Graves lives under, the responsibility, because as I said, that segregation between wizards and no-mages is something that really, really eats at his heart, and he'll do anything. He's so single-minded, he'll do anything to promote the well-being, and to promote, in ways, even possibly the exposure, because he thinks, you know, that there's no, if there is a superior race, it's certainly not those who are no-mages in his mind. It's those who are wizards, and they haven't been given a fair shake of the stick or wand, as the case may be. Hello, Mexico. Thanks, John Voight, for your kind words, by the way.
All right. They love each other here so much. Let's go over to New York to our girls, Sarah and Jackie. Who's your question for?
Well, now we have a question for Catherine Waterston and for Allison Sudol. Coming to us through BuzzFeed via Twitter from Colleen, whose handle is Colleen with some extra E's in there. All right, now she wants to know, what was it like being part of this magical world? It seems like there had to be a great learning curve for you guys. Yeah.
What do you mean? Why? Colleen. Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty magical already. We came in feeling pretty connected to all that. No, you know, the wands were a tricky thing to figure out. you think as an actor, this stuff will come naturally to you, but you see children playing in the backyard, and they'll invent a whole world in a millisecond and dive right into it without any bashfulness or self-judgment. But I found I had gotten a bit away from that when I first picked up the wand. I just felt really, really goofy. And it did help when they put the weight into the wand. Then it started to feel more substantial, like something I could really do something with. But it was the initial rehearsal. We had wand rehearsals, and the first time I went in alone into the room with this incredible movement instructor who said, just imagine you move that glass with your wand, and I blushed. I just turned like beetroot because I felt I know I can't really move the glass, and it was just I felt so useless. But then within like a week of wielding it around and kind of drawing it, I had a special pocket inside my jacket made just for the wand, and you start drawing it like a gun a couple times, get a little cocky with it, and then I felt really it grew on me quite quickly, and it was fun to develop. But
And you can move the glass.
obviously. I mean, I don't have my wand on me right now, but otherwise I would show you.
Alison, what about for you?
Well, I found that the coordination that we had to develop as sisters who do magic together was something that was a really wonderful thing to explore and really helped deepen our characters. We're doing magic. We do some workaday magic in our apartment together, and these are two people that have lived together their whole lives and essentially raised each other, and so we very quickly had to learn not only how to become so comfortable with each other that we forgot about it, but also how to then do that with magic. And there was a scene where we were cooking, and just learning the routine of how we cooked together and who did what, and also I realized like 2 days before we shot that I didn't have a recipe, and like you can't do magic if you don't know what you're making, or that's part of magic, is you need to have intention. And suddenly I was like, how do you make a strudel? And it's quite hard, actually. And then learning that, and then coordinating with you, and I also found that one of the most delightful things as well, is that collaboration. It really bonded
had
us.
to rehearse that like a dance. And Eddie reminded me of this today, that we were saying, and dishes and strudel and salt the bread
and the apples,
we had to work it all out, because of course we were working without these flying plates in front of us and stuff, and we had to be able to know, both of us, where everything was all the time.
And they had to see it as well.
Yeah.
So then we had to explain to you both what was happening. So it was it was really fun, though.
It sounds crazy, but it's really, really fun.
You paint a wonderful picture. You really do. It's such a vivid, wonderful picture that you paint. Yeah, I'm sure, like me, you all can't wait to actually see it. Let's go back to New York, where Sarah and Jackie have another question. Who do you have for us?
Oh, yes. Hi there, Edith. Thank you. Okay, so we have an interesting question from Sean Arnold here in New York, and we're going to throw this one to Eddie. So, Eddie, with all the history and the enthusiasm that surrounds the Harry Potter franchise, did you feel extra pressure in your performance to please the fans, or do you take this as just an opportunity to create something completely new and different, make it your own? Make it your own.
The honest answer is I feel enormous pressure, but that principally comes, I think, from kind of what I was saying before, that we were all fans, and we grew up watching these films, and for me, getting to go and see a Potter film every couple of years was like diving into that warm, cozy place that made you feel happy about the world, and so, which I'm sure you guys relate to. So it was about we've had quite high expectations on ourselves, I think. We didn't want to screw it up. But once we read the script, and once you realize that it was all those things that you were familiar with in J.K. Rowling's world, all of that everyday magic, silly things, like when I arrived on set, and I remember seeing this newspaper stand, which was miles down the street, was never going to be in shot. But I was walking past it during a break between takes, and I saw all these newspapers and I started reading the articles, and not just the front cover, but every single page had an intricate story entirely related to that day and date and what was going on in the magical world. And that detail was just so intoxicating that it kind of, I actually found that quite invigorating. And so the pressure then kind of decreased for a moment, and it's only now when I keep meeting people and people keep going, how are you dealing with the pressure, that I start to really feel it again. So.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions, and the first one is for our filmmakers. Now, we received a lot of questions, I have to say, about this. So on behalf of everybody who asked, we've heard the names Dumbledore, and Grindelwald in connection to this movie. So can you tell us a little bit about the connection to Harry Potter, and if there are any other Easter eggs in the movie?
Well, we can't tell you too much, obviously, because we'd have to kill you all before you could see the film. So we do mention Dumbledore in this movie, and he kind of features a little bit in a wonderful scene between Colin and Eddie. And Grindelwald does feature in the movie, sort of in the background, and he's going to become a much more prominent part of the stories going forward. Any more than that, I really couldn't say. Could you, David? Lips sealed.
Nothing? You give us nothing?
We don't know either.
Right then, although Fantastic Beasts hasn't even opened yet, we already have many fans around the world who sent in questions asking, what is next for Newt? What can you tell us? Can you tell us anything?
Well...
Don't ask me that was what that face said.
Newt, we next see Newt in another big capital city. And it's not going to be New York. It's somewhere else entirely. And Joe has actually written the script, and it's just as magical and just as marvellous as the first one, but very different, which is so exciting for all of us. These guys haven't seen it yet. We've seen it, and we're really, really, really excited about it.
Hold on. What's going on here?
Conferring.
There's something going on. Come on, you can't do this to us. Go on.
David said I can't say. Sorry.
Edith, can I just jump in and say
Yes,
one
you
of the
can.
best moments for us on set was when Joe would come to set. And I think David found it sort of a mixture of wonderful and mildly frustrating, because we would turn into like 7-year-olds and be like, we'd stop work, we wouldn't be able to do it. And Joe would come up to us and she would say, I'm working on the new script. I'm not allowed to tell you anything. And she would just start launching forward.
Actually, guys, there is someone here who probably can tell you a little bit more.
Oh my God.
Hello. Oh, yeah. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
You're very welcome.
Goodness gracious. What can you tell us?
I told them everything. Eddie's just told the truth. I kept telling them things I shouldn't have told them.
Really?
Yeah, they know quite a lot. They've been lying to you. They know everything. They don't know everything. They know quite a lot about the next movie. So yeah, I get excited. I tell actors things.
Does coming here to these things as well propel that excitement as well?
Of course, this is unbelievable. This is like old times. This is like traveling back in time. It's amazing. Yeah.
Can I just quickly ask what it was like for you as part of this? You know, we talked about it earlier about, you know, you've been involved in writing the script and this being a different journey for you.
Yeah, I learned how to write a script while writing a Hollywood movie. I wouldn't recommend that as a way to learn. It's quite stressful. But yeah, it's been an amazing experience. I've loved it. I've really loved it. Hence me writing another one and another one, and yeah.
Oh, another one and another one and another one. There we go. Oh, I'm kind of speechless that you're here, and the reaction from you guys as well.
Sorry, guys.
Is wonderful. And to you guys, yeah? Feels like Christmas, doesn't it?
No.
It really does. That was amazing. What a wonderful surprise. On behalf of everyone here in London and everywhere around the world, thank you all for taking the time to be here tonight and being part of this incredible event, for this thing that you've all been part of and created all over the world. And I know we're all more excited than ever to see fantastic beats and where to find them. How about you guys? Yeah? Do you agree? And shall we hear from everyone else around the world? Let's hear it now from Sao Paulo. Please. Keep it going for them, guys. Also out in Rome.
My people.
And New York as well.
My other
And
people.
Los Angeles. Now, before we head back to Los Angeles, though, Joe, please, whilst you are here, the question that we asked David, that he kind of sort of sidestepped slightly, was what can we expect next for Newt? Can you tell us any more?
I can tell you that... well, David has told you that we do talk about Dumbledore and Grindelwald. And... he's wincing. I'm not allowed to say too much. I can say one thing. We were doing some script sessions the other day, and I can tell you that we always knew it was going to be more than one movie. We knew that from the start, and we said a trilogy as a kind of placeholder, didn't we? Because we knew there would be more than one movie. But we've now, I think we can say, am I allowed to say that, David? Yes. So I've now done the plotting properly, so we're pretty sure it's going to be 5 movies. Which they didn't know.
Look at Dan's face!
Dan, why are you wincing? Do you want me to kill you?
Wow. That's a nice way to discover this, isn't it? This is crazy. Let's head out to Natalie in LA.
Oh my gosh, that's breaking news here. Huge cheers erupted here, Edith, when she said 5 movies. We're so excited. Yes. We want to thank these guys as well, Colin and John, for joining us here in Los Angeles. You guys have long careers ahead of you with 5 movies here. Thanks to all the fans for being here as well. Whether you're in a theater or watching online, we all have a date to see Fantastic Beasts and where to find them when it comes to a theater near you, November. Don't forget, advance tickets are on sale now in the US and Canada, everyone. Have a great day.